Hi everyone, JJ here. Thanks so much for liking and subscribing to these videos for more investing tips and updates. Happy Thanksgiving to all. Hope that you are able to spend some time with family and friends, whether that's in person or virtually, and staying safe. Okay, so it's been a couple of weeks since our last update. So I wanted to recap on a theme we've been talking about in markets as well as the retail recovery. So first, the Dow Jones average, which is an index of 30 large cap US stocks, hit 30,000 for the first time ever. Bitcoin, I know a lot of folks are following that. That's approaching 19,000 as inflation slowly starts to trickle into the economy. Oil prices have rebounded from their lows to a high 40s per barrel, which is still a relatively low number compared to history. There's still a lot of unemployed Americans out there, many of whom are still looking for a stimulus package. And unfortunately, we've still had gridlock in Congress. However, there has been some signaling from the Democrat side with Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer that they'd like to meet with Mitch McConnell even before the Biden administration takes office, which will likely happen January 20th. So all eyes are on the Georgia runoffs. And what's going on in Georgia is we've had a number of Senate races that haven't reached the 50% majority. So there's going to be another vote, and this is going to be on January 5th. Big deal. Whoever wins in those Senate races is going to control the majority when it comes to the Senate politics. So if it goes red, Republicans will maintain the majority. If they both go blue, the tiebreaker will be the vice president's, Kamala Harris, therefore would give a majority to the Democrat side. All eyes on Georgia. All right, so the theme we've been discussing, and quite frankly, we've been right on, has been the retail recovery. So even though it doesn't feel like the economy has recovered, markets have recovered rapidly from their lows. At first, it was a big tech rebound. You saw a lot of tech names doing really well despite COVID. Now, on the tail end, as we start to see vaccines coming to market from a number of companies like Pfizer, as well as Moderna, whom we've talked about, this has been a huge tailwind in the retail sector. So companies that we've talked about like Nordstrom were trading at $12 a share just on our last update about a month ago. Now, as we look at share price, it's up to about $27 a share, which is a huge increase in just a month's time. And this is something that we've been following. And you may ask, what's led that recovery? So what we follow is quarterly research and quarterly earnings calls. So when a company goes out there and talks about what their results were for the last quarter, we were expecting Nordstrom to do well, but they exceeded expectations on their digital transformation. Nordstrom is a digital company now. More than 50% of their sales actually came from online sales, whereas people can pick up in store, they can still shop in store, but many people are buying Nordstrom products online. So this is a big shift from where they were last year, where less than a third of the sales were coming from online. So they've shifted well during COVID. And I think even because of COVID, they've been able to accelerate their growth and invest in their digital platform, which is something that's going to help them as a company long term. The market has really rallied based upon that news. Okay, let's talk a little bit about Moderna. So Moderna is an mRNA vaccine franchise. And this is a company that is about 40 billion market cap, so not a huge company at all. And they're competing with the big biotech names in the industry. And they have a vaccine that is likely going to be emergency use approved over the next couple of weeks. And they've signed an agreement with the European Union for 160 million vaccines. Pricing is likely going to be about $25 per vial. And that's equivalent to about a $4 billion purchase just from the EU. That's a big deal. Moderna crossed over $100 a share. They were up about 10% prior to Thanksgiving. So the company is now trading about $110 per share. That's an opportunity that looks like it's something that could be relatively attractive going into the future as they develop more vaccines, not just for COVID, which is a big deal. I think this proves out their franchise. The efficacy of the vaccine is actually 95%, which is a huge number. Dr. Fauci came out and said, we hope that vaccines were 50 to 60%. We're talking 95% efficacy for Moderna's COVID vaccine. A lot of people are going to be taking that. 20 to 40 million Americans, likely elderly as well as healthcare workers, are going to get that vaccine within the next 60 days. So looking forward to those positive developments. So we think that that value tilt is going to continue. However, there's still some growth names that are likely to become household names as well as continue to do really well. We've talked about DocuSign. DocuSign hit a big high. They pulled back a little bit, but this is a company that is here to stay. Likely someone that is going to continue to do well, as well as other companies that we're tracking like Zoom Technologies, which is really a space that has accelerated because of COVID. And they may or may not be the end game winner, but definitely something that we're going to continue to track. And what's been really, really hot has been the EV market. So a lot of folks are watching electric vehicles, and there's a specific company that we're tracking, which is a SPAC, which is a specialty purpose acquisition company, a company that is set up specifically to take another company public. So a non-traditional IPO. There's a lot of companies that will take the traditional IPO route, which is initial public offering, where you have a roadshow, you have some underwriters, you have some big banks that bring you to market. The specialty purpose acquisition company is more complicated and something that we've seen heating up in the space. So there's a company that we're watching that is going to be taking ChargePoint, which is one of the largest electrical vehicle charging networks, public. They've ran up in terms of price, but this is something that we're going to be tracking. We'll talk a little bit more about that over time. So we're looking forward to positive developments in 2021. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel. We're going to give you a lot more investing tips and updates as we look forward to the next year. Thanks so much for tuning in.